Well, this is an item that was in our budget for this year. This has to do with the repaving of a portion of the parking lot at Fire Station Number 2. If you recall, this is the station over near the fairgrounds. It's also near Paradise Creek, and some of the soil conditions there are not the best when it comes to sustaining parking lots. So there's a portion of that parking paved area in front of the station that has deteriorated pretty severely, and so this project is intended to remove and replace those bad areas within that parking and paved area. This went to the normal bid process. It was a solicitation of bids. There are two different bid processes within these state codes. The normal open, advertised for several weeks type approach for larger projects, and then for smaller scale work under $100,000, it's the solicitation of bids where we contact contractors directly, minimum of 3, making a request for a bid for that work. That smaller project methodology was what was used in this case because we did not anticipate the work going over $100,000 in cost, which it is not estimated to do. The committee, when they reviewed this, talked about the concept of perhaps increasing the scope of the project with some additional funding. I believe it's through the Moscow Volunteer Fire Department component. Is that correct, Gary?
Moscow Volunteers, rural, and
rural, okay.
City.
And city, yes. So the three partners, if you will, in the facility. And so with that, the committee suggested that with funding from the 3 groups, that the project budget could go up to as much as $120,000 to address any additional work that probably needed to be done there. Due to the type of bidding method that we used, we have to keep the project under $100,000. And so what is before you tonight is a recommendation that the council award the bid with potential for change orders or modifications in the quantities of materials constructed as long as we stay under the $100,000 joint funding level. The project, as I mentioned, was put out to the 4 firms. We received bids from several. The low bidder was Motley Incorporated out of Pullman, and they had a low bid price of $69,357.50. So the staff recommendation is that the contract be awarded to Motley's in that amount, but that also that the staff be authorized to address change orders or modifications in bid item quantities up to, but not to exceed $100,000 total cost. I should mention that we're not anticipating that there's a lot of additional asphalt work that needs to be done. However, there probably is some further drainage system work that could be done to help because it is a fairly moist area with the creek nearby. And if we can do some things to help remove some of that moisture underneath that parking area, then what we put in place will be likely to last much longer than this particular installation did. So that's probably where we would anticipate perhaps some additional cost.
Questions for Les? Dan?
Les, is there a possibility of somehow splitting this work to make it where we could get the whole $120,000 worth of work out of it? I mean, the volunteers are putting in $40,000, and they're a private nonprofit. Could they say, okay, we want $40,000 worth of work, and then there's $80,000 from the 2 public entities, the rural district and the city,
Sure.
working on that? Or is there that much work that needs done? I mean, that it would be worth trying to explore it that direction.
Yeah, I'm not anticipating that there's that much additional work to be done. In terms of could we go to a larger project, the state codes are fairly explicit about avoiding the rules by breaking up projects into pieces, so that's something that we should not be doing. So really, no, we could not exceed that $100,000 with the method that we used. We'd probably have to take it back out to bid if we wanted to go beyond the $100,000.
Okay, thanks.
Mark?
Just to be clear in my own head, the 100,000 wouldn't exceed the 81,000 that was originally projected and budgeted on behalf of the city, right?
The original budget and estimate was in that 80,000 range. That was using city funding alone, I believe. the thought that the three-way funding split would give more ability to address additional issues. So this would allow, as you know, the suggested motion here, would allow the project to exceed that 80,000 original budget, but not to exceed the 100,000 total.
But not to exceed the city's out-of-pocket originally contemplated 81,000, right?
If it is indeed a three-way split, then we'd only be one-third of the $100,000 total.
So we'd be saving money
Got it.
by spending more.
I like it. Going broke, spending money, wow.
Shopping at Walmart.
Other questions for Les from the council?
I move we recommend to accept the low bid from Motley Motley, award the contract in the amount of $69,357.50, and authorize staff approval for additional funding for extra bid item quantities and construction change orders in the amount not to exceed a total project budget of $100,000, or take such other action deemed appropriate.
Nope, you just need the first part.
We don't need that part.
Okay, don't strike the second part.
Second.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
we have a motion by Catherine, a second by John, to authorize award to Motley in the sum of $69,357, and to authorize staff to approve for additional funding not to exceed $100,000 through change orders total budget. Correct?
Correct.
Start the roll, John.
Aye.
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 Okay, there you go, Les. Thank you very much.